Steve Kim for the Undisputed Champion Network. We're here with the Managing Director of K2 Promotions and the representative Gennady Golovkin. Tom, you are taking a bit of a roll of the dice here. Yeah. You could have gone to the theater at Madison Square Garden and sold out 4,000 to 5,000 tickets. You decided to open up the big room. Describe that decision.
It's it's a commitment that we made to Gennady. We were committed to putting the biggest fights together for him in the biggest venues, and going to Madison Square Garden has been very successful for us. He's fought at the theater twice, and now with the Daniel Geale fight, we thought it was the right opportunity to go and go into the big room. And with a co-feature like Jennings and Perez with 2 undefeated heavyweights, it just made for the right combination. It was the right timing.
Tom, when you went through this thought process of going into the big room, what was the reaction of the brass at Madison Square Garden?
They were very supportive. They've seen the reaction and the interest rise significantly with every time Gennady's fought, whether it's at MSG or on the HBO, and they were very supportive of the decision. Naturally, it's uncharted waters. We don't know exactly how the ticket sales are going to go, but we predicted, with Geale being a former champion and well known, we predicted that it would do well, and right now everyone is satisfied with the sales.
Now, by well, is there an over-under? Would it be 8,000?
That's really our target, is in that 8,000 to 10,000 range, because you also have the suite holders, so that's an extra 1,500 people in addition to the ticket sales. So it'll be right around that 10,000 mark is what we're looking at.
Tom, how important is it to develop Gennady as a ticket seller? Because the rap has been risk versus reward. He doesn't fit within that formula. At that point, you decided to make a risk that, hey, I'm going to rent the big room. Describe that process and exactly what happens if you hit that 8,000. What do you think that does in terms of the market value and the perception of Golovkin as it relates to the risk versus reward quotient?
I think it's a big component. If a fighter can sell tickets, and Gennady is really catching on as being a ticket seller, if he can sell tickets, that's another component to the revenue stream. A lot of fighters or promoters will take the TV revenue that's guaranteed to go into a smaller room where there's no risk, or a casino, and it doesn't have the same effect. If you're going to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena, that generates the PR and generates the buzz about a fighter's career. And then when you have someone like Gennady who puts on such a strong performance every time he gets in the ring, it's magic. You have the attention of the world's media and such a performance, and then it works out really well.
Tom, it wasn't too long ago, less than 2 years, you guys were in Verona at the Turning Stone. It wasn't your show, but I remember that Labor Day weekend, there weren't all that many people. Has the accelerated pace of his popularity even surprised you to a certain degree?
I'll tell you, when I was talking to Abel and I was talking to Gennady's managers in the beginning, I mean, that was a commitment we made to them and to Gennady in terms of moving his career. But the reaction, I saw it when we brought Gennady to the StubHub Arena, and it was just swarmed by Mexican boxing fans after that first fight, after the Proxa fight. And we did anything we could to get on HBO. I mean, there were so many obstacles put in my way, in Gennady's way, of not getting on HBO, and it went from fighting from fighting Pirog to fighting Proxa, a totally different style with the financial concessions. We just got on HBO to make a title defense, and once he was exposed to the world's media, that's when his career took off, and it took off. And it's really it's been less than 2 years, and it's been a dynamic ride since then. But there's much more to come for Gennady.
Tom, you've been involved in the Klitschko business for well over a decade. You're not a stranger to big events, but I know how personally invested you are in Gennady. Would you say this might be the biggest event you've been involved in, based on the fact you've been such an integral part of Golovkin's growth?
Well, I have a close personal relationship with all the guys that I work with, and Vladimir and Vitaly are great guys, and they're dynamic sports figures, and what they've achieved in boxing with such a long reign. And with Gennady, he's got that X factor that he's very likable outside the ring, and he puts on such a dynamic performance inside the ring. Coming with 16 consecutive knockouts. It's one of those things that you can't create, you can't manufacture that. Mm-hmm. It's a natural ability and a natural excitement, and it's my job to put it on the biggest stage, and that's what we're doing in July 26th.
Final question here, Tom. A year from now, Where is Gennady Golovkin in his career?
I think with every fight he just grows. HBO, they've really been the most surprised. Is all the representations that I was making, guarantees that I was making when we first met in their office. I mean, he's far exceeded any of their expectations. He's the only fighter, which they've told me, the only fighter that's risen that much with each fight. It's 30% increase in ratings with every performance. And the buzz on Gennady before he was like an internet sensation, or only with the hardcore boxing fans, of people that had heard about him but had never really seen him. And now that people are exposed to him in the ring and on HBO and on international TV, I mean, you also got to consider he's not only becoming a star here in America but worldwide. His fights are shown in over 100 countries. He lives in Germany. He's one of the most popular fighters fighting on Russian television, and that's what my goal is, to make him an international and a true definition of a world champion.
All right, that's it. Tom Loeffler from K2. This is Steve Kim for UCN.